Me, and I'm Dr. Paul. This is Bridges Live, and we're having a show here with Miss Mona Dixon. And first, as you people know, as you watch, you can reach Dr. Paul here with all the social media, all my platforms. You can like, love, share, and help sponsor and do all what you may. But more importantly, I want you to listen. And the reason why I want you to listen, I want you to see and hear yourself in the things that you can do too. Because all the shows I do, it's about information, understanding, and hopefully it drives you into an action. And if you have any questions from Miss Mona Dixon, who you're going to meet in a few minutes, and you see it on social media and I don't get to you, that's because I'll answer you later, or I'll direct it back to Mona later and make sure she hears some of the questions that she might hear through the Facebook, Twitter, or whatever all those social media does. But because I want you to talk, Mona, so introduce yourself to Bridges Live.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Mona Dixon, and I am a motivational speaker. I am the founder and CEO of Inspired by Mona Foundation, and also the CEO of Inspired by Mona. So a little bit about myself. I grew up homeless for about half my life. So I grew up living on the streets and in and out of shelters up until I was about 13 years old. So a pretty rough and unstable upbringing. But nonetheless, I had my mother with me throughout that entire time, and she encouraged me, she motivated me, and did whatever she could to take care of my two siblings and I. And fast forward, we got on Section 8 housing, food stamps, all of that, and happened to get our first apartment behind a Boys and Girls Club. And the Boys and Girls Club pretty much saved my life. I went there. A lady paid my membership fee, which was only $20, but $20 is like lunch to people. But for me, it saved my life.
Absolutely.
It gave me a place to go. It gave me a place to have mentors, do my homework, take school seriously and all of that. I ended up graduating the top of my class, going on to becoming National Youth of the Year for Boys and Girls Clubs of America, winning over $100,000 in scholarships so I can pursue my education. So I went on, I got my bachelor's, my master's, and I'm currently working on my doctorate.
But before you go on, and I know that when you met the president in the Oval Office, my goodness, but before you get there, really, Miss Mona, don't run. I refuse to let you run through your life like it's off a cue card. You have said some amazing things in 2 minutes, if it's not even 2 minutes. I have a dear friend of mine, Dr. Latasha Holden, out of Atlanta, and she was homeless with 6 kids. She was the mom.
Wow.
And she raised 6 kids. She went from homeless, almost committing suicide and killing herself, to saying, no, I'm going to raise my kids. She ended up getting her doctorate, becoming a National Mothers of the Year award. Where she is now, and she teaches her story, and she mentors. She's been writing books and children's books, and her kids have just done some amazing things. Matter of fact, one of her sons just got promoted to staff sergeant in the Marine Corps.
Awesome.
But it reminds you. You look and there's so many stories of incredible people. We know this Woman of the Month, and you can tell by my backdrop, and I'm on Honor Women. But you're more than just a woman. You're a human being that just said, I can. That's a story. Because a lot of people give up and say, I can't.
Right.
How do we change that?
Yeah, it definitely comes down to believing in yourself, and it's a lot easier said than done. But honestly, I truly believe it's about what you feed into yourself, right? And the people that you hang around that helps you better the mindset that you have towards yourself. and within yourself. So the books that you read, I read a lot of positive books. The music I listen to is positive. And the people that I hang around with are people who encourage me and they support me and they tell me that I can do things and they believe in me often, more than I believe in myself. And I believe that's important because a lot of us will hang around people who tell us we can't do something, or they say, I've tried that before, it's impossible. And because it was impossible for them, they tell you it's impossible to do. And then you believe that without even trying and without even doing things yourself.
Do you think a young girl, a young person, a young human life should disregard the verbal garbage, sometimes I call it? It's verbal trash. Should they just discard it? Because in the mind, they keep that stuff. Because as you hang around with it, these are the people that look like you, that are familiar to you, that are part of your environment, and you start keeping that. And it's hard to let that trash go when they're like, I can be, whether they don't think they can. That's, like, for you to talk to that young girl and that young person, how do you work on that awareness and switch?
Yeah, you definitely, for these young people, they definitely have to start understanding that this is their lives. Right. The decisions that they make will dictate how far they can go or who they become and the people that they meet. So they have to understand that they get to choose the outcomes of their lives and what's going to happen, despite who they hang with. You hang with negative people, you're going to have negative outcomes. You hang with positive people, then more than likely you're going to have positive outcomes. So they definitely, like I said before, have to continue to feed positive mindsets into themselves. Like you'll see even behind me on these walls. So I'm seeing every day, it's like, dreams don't work unless you do. So I come in here and I'm telling myself, okay, Mona, you can have these big dreams all the time and want to be a doctor or want to speak all over the world, but none of this is possible unless you put in that work. And that's the type of stuff that I feed into myself all the time, so that I can change my mindset, because there's a lot of times where you doubt yourself or you think that I can't do it. And that's why you got to lean on all that other positive energy in the universe that people are putting out there and instilling that in yourself.
But it's it's funny because I'm not a social media fan, but we know this is a platform for people to hear and see and watch. Because I do shows, but I know there's memes and these little blips and blurbs that people just scroll through and they're not taking it in. They're just kind of, it's like, I almost call it visual mental illness. They're not really taking it in, the positive that they are watching. So to me, I think they should slow down. And see, read the stuff you write. Right. Actually soak it in and be like, wow, what does that mean to be that, to believe in you? What does that mean? Do I think like that? They don't give enough time to ask those questions.
Yeah. I think it comes different forms from the social media get to certain people and get them to stop, right? Some people are visual and they can look at these videos and things like that, and some people are readers and they'll read it. I'm a person who I put thought-provoking most messages, which I believe anyways, and they're very long, and some people will ask me questions or they'll say things and I'm like, huh? And I can tell that they did not read that entire post. They probably just read the first line or something like that, So there's definitely people who read. There's people who will listen to the music. There's people who will look at the meme and share it and add on to it, their own interpretation of the meme. But I think that it's important for us to understand that and put it on different platforms like you have for your social media. It's not just on Facebook, but it's on different platforms, because that's how you're going to reach different audiences in their ways.
Now, you said you listen to certain music. I'm not going to ask you what specific music, but I want to ask you the specific music you don't listen to and why.
So I don't think that there's, a certain music that I'm not listening to so much. It's just some stuff that I'll maybe try to avoid, when I'm trying to build myself up kind of thing. And that's music that probably like makes me seem as a woman like I'm less than, or I'm just like an object.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
What? No, I'm more than that. I'm a queen, or I can go out there. I'm royalty. I'm a leader. I like stuff that empowers me more. So obviously that music is like hyping, and things like that. Like the beat might sound good and all that, but if I'm being called, certain types of words and stuff, I'm like, I don't like that so much. So.
I mean, because if you look at this one, right, you look at this picture, you can envision yourself like this, or you can envision yourself like this. A lot of music wants to keep you like this.
Exactly. So I try not to listen to that as much. And I definitely, once I do, or once I am fortunate to have kids, I don't want them to be listening to something and think that they're less than, or this is all that they amount to, when they're definitely greater than that. And I love music even more when it empowers women, when it says like you're fruitful, or you're beautiful, or you don't got to show your entire body for people to like know you and things like that. Like I love music like that. That's empowering, and that's what I just stick to for the most part.
So you started your own company, and you do greeting cards. You do other things, but tell us about the company you started.
Yeah, so actually last year when the pandemic started, a lot of my motivational speaking events either got canceled or rescheduled because I couldn't travel as much.
I hear you, sister.
Yeah, right. So then what I did just to stay connected with people, and I just love this in general, is send cards and cute cards and things like that. And what I learned in greeting cards a lot, I go into stores and they have some like mahogany cards with like black people on them, but not a lot, and not always really good. So therefore I started making my own greeting cards, and I would send them to people, and they'd be like, oh my God, these are cute, like where'd you get them from? And I'm like, I made them. So then they're like, can I buy some? And then that just led to me starting the business. I was in Atlanta for about 3 months this summer, and I showed this picture with me, and I got like maybe 5 packages or 6 packages, and I would take them to the post office. And then it just expanded from there. And now it's like canvas art and calendars and greeting cards and hats and all types of stuff. So it expanded, and I'm grateful for it. There's always good that comes out of the bad, and I created another business out of it.
If you ever need an action writer, I love writing, so I love writing stuff. So if you ever need a thing, I'll just love to send you stuff. But so how do you get your words onto your canvas? Do you write them yourself? Do you solicit more writers, or?
Yeah, so I just write the words. Right now, I've been focusing a lot on my sorority, so Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Writing for them.
I'm surprised you didn't throw it up there. You can throw it out there. You can throw your sign. I'm okay. I'm a fraternity guy, so go ahead. So show it. Show us your Delta. There you go.
Yeah, so a lot of my stuff right now is geared towards them, and then I plan on expanding outwards after that.
What about politics? Let's get you to run for office. You must have been thinking about it. You have to have been thinking about it. I know you have to have been. So let's just get it out there now. This is an expose. Say it. Tell us where you're going to be running and for what office and in what year. 2022 means what? Come on.
Oh, gosh. So
you've been thinking about it.
So I always get asked, like, Mona, you need to run for president, or are you going to run for office, or things like that. And I'm like, no. And I always joke and say, man, did you see Obama's hair when he went into office, and then versus when it came out? 8 years difference. It was black and then white. I was like, I do not want that stress,
But we need, we need Board of Education. We need city councilmen. We need those.
Yes. So all of that, and I just got to figure out, like, if I was to ever do that, what position would I take on, or what would be best for me. Right now, I'm like, I want to stay away from politics as much as possible, but I know that it's needed, and I know, humbly stated, I'm like, I know that it would be great for a person like me to be in politics.
Yes.
Somebody who tries to bring sides together and help people see different versions of sides and things. Like, for example, there's one thing that I always talk about, right? And it's like take food stamps, for example, or Section 8, right? My mom used that to give us a hand up, right? So that we can get out of that situation and grow up. And then I became who I was. My sister works. My brother went to college too and works. So it helped us, right? So I do believe that people need that to move up. You know, people fall on hard times. We have natural disasters, all of that. But I also don't believe that people should stay stuck on that, right? So there's people who they'll get on Section 8 and they feel like, why would I go work a job and have to pay rent when I can do this like less and work for free, you know, and still have like a little bit of extra money. So they're just like, shoot, I'd rather just do this and then just live off the government forever. But then it makes it hard for people who really, really need it. So in my opinion, I would say the government has to figure out a way to figure out who needs what, and we need to get it to people who truly need it and weed out those people who don't truly need it.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the government does these policies for people on purpose to keep them down? Do you think the government uses their help to keep people in their place?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I would say that because when my mom was going through the program, as much as possible, they were trying to get my mom to go to these different types of workshops.
Okay.
They were trying to get her to go to the community college. They were trying to get her to go to resume, you know, writing places. So they were trying to get her to move out of the system. I just think some people, you know, are nonchalant with it and they don't take it serious and they get comfortable and they stay there. And the government, because they're not like forcing them or like really checking on that, it's easy to say I went and did this and fake the system and do all types of things like that. And I know people probably hate me for this because they, you know, are comfortable, right? And they like it, that lifestyle. But for me, I feel like that truly messes it up for people who truly need that to get to that next step. So I know there's people way over here that say we need to get rid of it all, and then there's people over here that say no, we need to give it to people. But I'm like, there's always the middle and finding out the best way that works for everybody.
And the only way that's going to help is if a person sees other people as humans, and you see people as humans. So the office you could run for would be it's there. You know, I don't think we have enough women in politics. I don't think we have enough black women in politics. We've had some amazing women throughout history who have ran for politics, but the percentage is so low.
Right.
We just don't see it. We don't see it on the city council level. We don't see it in the judges. We don't see it in the courts. We don't see it. And every time they highlight it, like after, you know, like a Black History Month, we're like the first black woman CEO. We're like, ooh, there's 5 of you. You know how many companies there are in America, right? You know what I mean? Right. So you're not. Whose strings are you pulling on? Because it isn't the black community. It's like you're patting yourselves on the back, going, "Oh, we acknowledge you," but right. You've done more to say, "I'm worthy, and here I am."
Right.
And that's what you're speaking to the young girls.
Definitely. And not just like I'm worthy and here I am, but it's very important for me to not just boast about like what I've done or how far I've come, but to be letting these other girls who look like me know that they too can be somebody. I think it's important, even being from, growing up in Arizona, these girls might think, oh, because I don't live in Atlanta or New York or something like that, then I can't be somebody. But it doesn't matter where you live or what you look like, or, what area you grew up in, or whether you didn't grow up with a father or you had an alcoholic's mom, or whatever your circumstances are. Like, I'm letting them know, no, you can be somebody and you are somebody. And as long as you continue to hear these words from us and continue to do what you can to be successful, whether that's, working on your homework every day, asking for help, raising your hand in the classroom, and being seen. Make yourself seen, ask those questions, and be recognized in the classroom. Do what you can with what you have right now to become the best person that you can be in all aspects of your life, for sure.
So self-confidence is really what I think you're talking to. And I don't think young women, I know having 9 kids and 7 girls and 2 boys, that whole self-confidence thing, it doesn't matter what us parents say to them. It has a lot to do with their environment and what they're saying to themselves. Right. Now, until they say, I am amazing, you can't be like a parent, be like, we've been telling you that for 15 years. But for you, when you were growing through that and going through shelter to shelter, and I've worked in shelters, I've helped with, they are bleak. They do the best they can. They do the best they can, but they're not a happy place to go.
Right. Definitely. For me, when I used to live in a shelter, it made me finally feel okay because I was surrounded by people who were just like me. I didn't have to continue to explain why my clothes were dirty or why they were torn or why I had to wear the same ones multiple times, because we were all in that same boat, all in that situation. But I just kept telling myself, like, this is not like this forever. Like, this is just a temporary thing. And I remember one time I was an undergrad in college, and I remember driving down the freeway, and there was this kid, and I recognized him from the shelter. And so I just, I'm getting off the freeway, I gotta go. So I hurry up and honked, and I gave him some money out the window. And he literally said, and this always gives me the chill, and I try not to cry today, but he was like, thank you, Mona. And that just broke my heart. Like, it broke me down, because I was just like, what failed him, or who failed him, or where did something go wrong? How me and him are like the same age, and we lived in the same exact shelter, but here I am driving, on the freeway to college, and he's on the side of the freeway asking for money to eat or to live or whatever he's, trying to survive. And that just really hurt me. And just him saying my name, like, I wouldn't even expect him to remember that, but somehow, some way, like, he remembered that, and that, it just broke me down. And it's like, where did someone go wrong for this kid? So yeah.
So what do you think happened there? What do you think did go wrong? Do you think it was a misconnection, not being able to connect with someone, or
someone or some place? Because for me, I remember when I moved from California to Arizona, I was defiant, I would say, and people don't believe it, but I remember getting in trouble in classroom. One teacher specifically, I would cuss her out, and I flipped a table one time and was in school suspension and all types of stuff, getting in trouble. And I had a 6th grade teacher, Miss Listener, who like strongly believed in me, and she would not tell me I'm like bossy, but she would tell me I'm a leader, and she would let me lead in the class and help me read sections, pass out things. And she just took those qualities I had and turned them into a positive, positive actions. And then, like, she took the extra time with me. She would talk to me when I would get in trouble. She would sit me down and tell me, Mona, you're too smart for this. You can do better than this. You have a lot of things ahead of you. And I think it's people like that who, changed my life. And it's the Boys and Girls Club, where people would provide meals for me, or they would talk to me. They would empower me. That's what helped me move forward in life. And I think that he probably didn't come across those people in his path, or somebody didn't, come, because I didn't get here by myself where I am today. There's so many people along the way that helped push me forward. They saw me do as best I could with what I had. And then they saw me, like, well, she's doing everything she can. Let me help her get to that next step that she needs to be in.
And that's one of the things. I mean, I love mentoring. I love doing this show. I love doing my shows because it gives a voice to mentoring. It says thank you. It says thank you to that woman, that sixth grade teacher that gave you that time. I want to say thank you because out of the millions of teachers, there are not that many. Out of hundreds and thousands of, caseworkers, and trust me, they got into the situation because they love people, but somehow they got jaded and twisted and sidetracked. And it's passing by that person, and you look at them in their eyes, and you feel their heart, and you say, "Here, I got you. You take care." It's not the dollar; it's the connection. It's not the handout; it's the belief that I want to help you, and here you go, right? Not just here. Like, get away from me here. Trust me, I know, and you know what? I tell you. If people want to do some really self-experiment, and I have panhandled. Go out and panhandle. Go out and ask people for money and see how you feel. And you see the way people look at you. And that's how people look at each other every day. And I think that's why we're in the turmoil we're in now, because we're not seeing each other.
As humans, and as somebody who might have had a rough time, there's another story, because I was homeless, so I know that there's true people who are homeless, right? And who may not have had a hand in getting there, right? Especially children, right? I have no choice. Like, I couldn't go out and get a job, and all that, right? But then also, I talk to a lot of homeless people because I just want to know. Like, I want to talk to you and acknowledge you. And a lot of people get so surprised when I speak to them who are homeless because they're like, wow, like, someone's talking to me, right? And there was one guy, I remember I seen him on the Orbit bus. And again, I was in college at this time. And he was homeless. And I just asked him, like, how did you get here? After I was talking to him a bit. And I said, how did you get here? And he just like looked at me and like paused for a little bit. And he was like, wow, no one ever really asked me that. Yeah. And so, I always choke up with this story too. But so this man was an actual doctor. He was a doctor, and his mother got cancer. And so this man had worked his entire life to try to heal people and take care of people. And his mother, the very own person who gave him life, he could not save. And so he like spent so much money on all her, cancer treatment and everything like that. And it just, nothing would work. And she obviously passed away. And this was over a series of years that she was going through this. And so that put him into a depression. Like, he spent, so much of his money there. And I think like he started to drink. He just started all these different things. So much so that he ended up homeless and on the streets and spending so much money trying to take care of his mother. And he's like, and now people look at me like I'm less than. People look at me like I don't mean anything, or they don't talk to me. They spit on me, or they tell me, go get a job, or go to school, or become something, or, they just spit all these things at him. Not that it's bad to say, get a job, or something like that, but they don't understand that this man used to take care of people. He spent his whole entire life, for the most part, trying to help people become better and get better. And now people are just spitting on him like he's a nobody, and just, shouting things at him, or ignoring him, not smiling at him, crossing the street when they see him on one side, and just treating him less than and not a human. And that just really, really hurt me. And I think what you said, when you said through Facebook, when people are just scrolling and just fast, and they need to slow down. And I think that in life, that's what we have to do. We need to slow down and reflect and think about how that could be us one day. He wasn't expecting that, or these natural disasters and these people passing away in Texas because of the weather. That could be us one day. And I think so much we get on these high horses and we start to think like we're better than these people, or like they're less than us, or they need to go get a job, and maybe they can't get a job, and people need to start thinking that it's deeper than just go get a job. Okay, so how do I go get an ID because I'm homeless, right? So how do I prove my identification, right? And how do I pay for this ID, right? If I'm not asking for people money and I don't have a job, right? So how do I, get to these places when I do get a job? How do I get there before I get my paycheck to buy a bus pass to get to the job every day, right? So then now I'm going to get fired from my job, and then it's a cycle again, right? So people aren't thinking that it's deeper than just do this, just do that, just do this. But we got to start thinking about how can we help that person, or how can we just help other people. Like, is there a resource that we can provide to them? Can we ask them, how can I help you get off this street? Or how can I help you get into a better place? If you can do that. And if you can't, even if we all have cell phones, like what kind of resource can we provide to somebody? Where can they go? Like, try to be a part of the solution rather than a part of the problem that continues to push these people further down than they already are.
And I think we just got to care. We got to care. We got to care. We have to. And it's not just care. It's compassion. Compassion takes practice. Compassion doesn't just fall out of the sky. Kindness is easy. Compassion takes work. You have to work at being compassionate, and you have to want to be compassionate.
Right. Because it takes a little extra.
That's right.
To be compassionate, right? It's easy, like you said, to be kind, like smile at somebody, but compassion goes a long way, and it does take a little bit more effort. Like my teacher, all she had to do was teach me. That's all she had. That's what she was getting paid to do. She wasn't getting paid to mentor me and empower me and do all of that type of stuff. I'm sure that's not a part of her job description.
It isn't.
And I'm pretty sure she don't get paid enough to even teach, right? And we know that that's an issue in itself. But she took that extra time, and it changed my life. And now she still goes to all my college graduations and everything. She's still with me. So she impacted my life, and I just feel like we need a lot more Miss Listeners, or a lot more Davids and Tonias and all these people who have impacted my life. We need more people like that. We got to be that person. Even if it's to one person, we gotta change somebody's life and bring them along with us for sure.
And from those days to the presidential Oval Office, that had to have been, that's a rare treat in itself in a human's life, because it is our nation's capital, our presidential. It doesn't matter who the president was. The issue is not the president. The issue is the presidential Oval Office, because it's the people's office. Tell us about that time. And how did that feel?
Yeah, so when I was 17 years old, I was honored in the Oval Office by President Barack Obama at the time. And oh my gosh, I have to pinch myself every time I see that picture or think about that moment, because I was 17, and only 4 years before that, I was still living in a homeless shelter. So, this is that thing with the positive people around you. Like if I was told my friends or whoever was around me, well, in 4 years I'm gonna go meet the president of the United States in the Oval Office, they'd be like, no, you're lying, or you're crazy, right? Saying all these negative things, or bashing my plans down. But like, they didn't believe it. But I can't knock them for that, because I probably didn't even believe that myself, that I was gonna be doing this in 4 years. So it was definitely an experience for me. When I was there, I was just speechless for the most part. A lot of people ask me, what did you say? And I'm like, nothing. But no, I got to go there with Denzel Washington, who was the national spokesperson for Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
Right.
And he put me on the spot. He was like, he told him, he was like, Mr. Obama, that's your National Youth of the Year right there. And then President Obama came over and he said, oh, is that right? He stood right in front of me and just started talking. So he got me to speak for sure.
You're mentoring, you're giving, you're sharing. I want to say thank you. I'm sure other people have to say thank you. And please use this as your voice to ever come on and say what's coming up next in your life. But if people want to come talk to you and read your stuff, where can they reach you?
Sure. So my website is monadixon.com and my email is mona@monadixon.com. My Facebook, Mona Dixon Official. Instagram, Mona Dixon Official. And Twitter, Mona Dixon Speaks. And youtube.com/Mona Dixon. So you can find me on any of those. And please reach out, ask me questions, talk to me. And I love talking to youth especially.
So when are you coming back on my show?
Whenever you invite me.
You hear that, people. See, I got her because we're going to get her to run for city councilman or board of education as soon as she graduates. I know she's writing a lot. I know what you're doing. So take care of yourself. We got each other. We got you. Let's stay connected and let's stay blessed.
For sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Have a good night.
You too.